There's a polling on inflation. This is Washington Post. It's a dopey poll. 2,560 U.S. adults. Those are people who don't necessarily participate in elections or pay attention to anything. You want registered voters or likely voters in your poll. Washington Post knows that. But it's easier to get the result they want by just throwing it out into adults. Question number one. Do you approve or disapprove of the way Donald Trump's handling his job? Approve 37, disapprove 62. All right, we've seen that before. Do you approve or disapprove of the way Donald Trump's handling the economy? Approve 34, disapprove 65. That's higher prices. Do you approve or disapprove of the way Donald Trump's handling the situation with Iran? Approve 33, low number. Disapprove 66%. Now, the MAGA pundits, the conservative men and women who deliver news analysis every day, they're going to try to persuade you that the Trump policies are vitally necessary for the nation. Problem with that is they speak to the choir. They speak to a very small segment of the American population. So while their message is accepted by their audience, this is not a wide persuasion. President Trump would have to do that himself. And he's going to have to do it because of the midterms coming on up. May, November, goes fast. Latest in Iran today, U.S. Navy took out 6 small Iranian boats that were designed to stop shipping. So they're at the bottom of the ocean. It's basically the president's going to have to decide to step it up. I don't think he can go another month or so with the way we are now, particularly because those gas prices are hitting about $4.50 a gallon. I mean, that's a killer. Joining us now from Washington is Dr. Judy Shelton, the former economic advisor to Donald Trump in his first term. She's a senior fellow at the Independent Institute. So, putting politics aside and just getting into the effectiveness of the Iranian war, you'd have to say it's undefined right now, Doctor, or would I be wrong?
No, it's somewhat undefined. In some aspects, you could claim a certain amount of victory, but we see things heating up today, and our markets are responding to that. The price of oil is responding to that. So nothing has been decided in the end.
And that is angering a lot of non-ideological voters, people who aren't committed to the MAGA or not committed to the liberal progressive side, because they walk out every day, got to pay more money to the essentials of life. And so they're going to take it out on the administration. Or is there a way they wouldn't take it out on the administration?
Well, part of it, as you brought up, is the way those polls are worded. If you ask people if they think it would be a good thing to take away the power from Iran to threaten us with nuclear weapons, they would be very much in favor of that. That's popular in a broad way. But it's true. People don't like to see the price of gasoline go up, and they do respond to that. I probably am in that group of MAGA supporters who thinks that this is all going to work out. I applaud the president for showing leadership. No one said it would be easy, which is why other presidents haven't attempted to confront Iran. I think we're well situated as far as being oil producers ourselves, largely thanks to things that were done under the Trump administration. And I think the price of oil will come down once it's resolved. And meanwhile, companies are doing well. Consumer demand is good. People are getting refunds from their taxes. So there's all kinds of indications that we'll be doing well once we get through it. But some people are less inclined to get through it, and there's a lot of murmuring going on now.
Okay, but you say that it was not in the beginning defined that it would be this difficult. President Trump made some statements that said, hey, we're going to whack them pretty hard and it's not going to be a long situation. So he raised the expectations of victory in Iran, and now it's coming back to haunt him, or am I wrong?
Well, expectations were high, no doubt, because it looked so easy in Venezuela. Not only need and minimal loss of life, but the people of Venezuela were grateful. We were saying, thank you for getting rid of this guy. And now oil revenues are going to start to flow to those citizens. And, it helps us and it helps Venezuela. So it wasn't so easy in Iran. We're dealing with a much more entrenched power. I think more ideologically driven, maybe somewhat irrational as far as when we try to put together military strategy. They have these little mosquito boats, as you say, where we take them out, but they're also attacking, for example, what used to be their own allies in the region, the United Arab Emirates. So they're taking it out on their allies, and maybe that's an angle that we weren't expecting. So now we're going to have to help the allies, and all of that is dragging us in and making the whole thing take a lot longer. And the more the potential for action by our Navy, the more potential for expenses if we're trying to somehow ensure the safe passage of cargo ships through the Strait of Hormuz. Between all of those risks, treasure, life itself, we're paying a higher price than I think people had been.
Yeah, and I think that the president also, I don't think he was misled. It's just the way war is, the fog of war. Final question. You were an economic advisor to Donald Trump. I get hundreds of letters saying, look, America is self-sufficient in energy, oil. We got plenty of it here. Why are gasoline prices going up $1.50 at the pump? If we have all this oil here in the boundaries of our country, why are they going up so much? How do you answer that?
Well, it is a global market. Yes, we're the largest supplier, but the price is pretty much governed by global demand. And so even our biggest producers are in competition with the other major producers in the world. And they even respond when the price goes up, then they tend to produce more. It's not like we're like OPEC, but our own producers do respond to price signals that are generated by demand.
Yeah, we don't have any oil shortages here, but we have higher prices, and we shouldn't have higher prices if we have enough oil to service our population, whereas places like China don't. They have to import all their oil. We don't have to import any of our oil. So people are starting to say, you know, the American oil company's taking advantage of the situation. And I'm kind of in that group. Last word.
Well, I guess we could be the way the old Soviet Union was and say we're totally self-sufficient and we don't want to trade with the rest of the world, and we just kind of close up shop. And then in economics, you're called an autarkic country, so you don't need to trade. But the U.S. has never been that way. We've been hurt by globalization in many respects, but we're still pretty much, we have an attitude of it's an open global market. And I think when it comes to energy, those forces are still going to dominate. I don't think we could ask our producers to only produce for the United States.
All right, Doctor. Thanks very much. We appreciate it, and I hope we can talk again soon.